Oh hey dudes, welcome back to another weird and wacky episode of World Building. I am he, the host, Model Monstrosities. So, in this video I wanted to build something that I've actually been wanting to build for quite a while. I wanted to build a giant frog underwater with a guy on top of it. I was thinking this because I've kind of just always wanted to build something underwater, and it looks like the person sitting on it is a little island. And if you didn't get that from the thumbnail, that's what it is. The guy is supposed to think it's a little island, when really, you look under the epoxy resin or the water, and it's a giant frog. Or, I didn't have a giant frog specifically in mind, but I decided that after a little while. So anyway, here I'm using a wood base. I'm using some foam to build it up, and also use some foam board to help level it out. I'm using wood and foam instead of just foam, because I wanted to add some weight to it and make it feel more real, and I like making things out of more permanent materials. I kind of decided that after I made that one airplane video that like nobody watched. So, yeah. Just cutting through it with the hot wire there, and yeah, because I like to think they're more permanent, that way they'll last longer. Don't know how long. This one does have foam on it. But anyway, I got out my silicone mat here to apply some goop all over it. I like my goopy stuff. It was plaster. It was plaster of Paris, school glue or PVA glue, some paint, and some water. And some really fine sawdust. Anyway, here I got out a little tank and a little Hot Wheels car, and I wanted to pick, do I want the tank there or do I want the car there? As if the frog had dragged it under a long, long time ago. And I decided on the tank. For some reason I wanted the turret turning, and I wanted it to look like it was pretty deep in the mud. Part of the reason was that because I didn't want to make the epoxy resin real thick, because it might overheat then. But anyway, it was time to make the frog. You may have seen earlier I actually put some rocks on the thing. There's going to be some rocks on the hill, but for the frog I bunched together some aluminum foil and layered some clay over that. And then to make his mouth, I put a thick layer on top of the oval-shaped body, and that made his top lip. And that looked pretty good, I think. And I smoothed it out. Smoothing it out, I also used some isopropyl alcohol there. And use my finger to smooth that out a bit, and yeah, actually that worked pretty well. And I also added some eyes, which you can see there. The eyes were some little hemispherical rhinestones, which are a really good crafting thing. If you like to do this kind of thing, or this kind of hobby, you should definitely get some of those. I got some from Hobby Lobby there. That's the ones I used on his eye there, some of them. Anyway, I was also making his front arms here, and he had some fingers that I put on that were actually really delicate, so I actually had to be really careful. This is really cheap clay I'm using here. I didn't use like super sculpty or anything else like that on this guy. I used clay. I also used a little homemade texture roller out of clay to make the bumpy texture. Yeah, and that's how he is gonna look there, hopefully. Oh yeah, and there's his back leg there, which I used which did pretty much the same thing, except I made it look like they were folded and had longer toes in the back. So this is a little figure I got from IMAX that is going to be on his head there. Yeah, kick him off. Anyway, airbrushed up some of the base. I kind of did the sides too. Didn't really need to though, because I think I'll paint it in black later after putting on some more goop. So putting out the silicone mat again. I think this one I'm actually doing some painting. Yeah, looks like I'm adding a dark brown wash to help darken it. Painting that pipe there that I used that little plastic tube to make black. And looks like here I'm getting some green for the frog. I used my military green technique here. I added some brown paint, some of that green paint back there, and some water. You probably don't need the water, but it actually makes for a really nice military green. Well, I think it's really nice. I don't know what you think, but as you can see, actually I'm not sure if you can tell, but I painted him white before I did that, because the white shows through, and that kind of makes for a really cool look. I think it's cool. I don't know. But anyway, He was already white, but he had some residue from other clays, from the clay tools in him that kind of changed the colors a little bit, so I painted over it with white. Some of it, anyway. So there I was getting out some brown and painting the dude's pants. Yeah, it is a tank down there, and there is like coppery pipe sticking out. But the thing is, the guy that I'm putting on top of him looks kind of more medieval-y. Oh, hey, giraffe puppet. So, what do you think of this frog here?
Looks weird.
I think it looks pretty nice. I haven't painted his eyes yet, but I was actually going to use about the same color as you are, sort of, kind of. See, he goes up here.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
On the tank.
Sweet!
Yeah, use that color and
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Where's the dude? There he is. So, yeah, he's going to be up there, and there's going to be some water, and it's going to look like an island.
Got it.
Thanks. I'm glad to know that you still like some of my stuff. Yeah, some water and some rocks over there, and yeah, I think it'll look pretty cool. I don't know what you think, but yeah, here I was painting the eyes, and yeah, and then I added some more of these rocks here. These rocks I thought looked pretty nice and textured, and they're all about the same color, except they kind of stood out with the painted ones, so that kind of sucked. But anyway, then I added some little foliage and grass clusters and things, which really added to that sort of swampy feel. I kind of like that. Anyway, I got out some of this wire here. This armature wire, it was nice and green already, so I glued some in, and after the epoxy resin is poured and cured, or dry enough to take off the epoxy resin, I could take off... Wow, that's weird. I could trim off the tops. And, yeah. And after I had trimmed off the tops, then I could add on some of the lily pads. There I was painting out some fish on some acrylic sheets so that those could go in the water and the acrylic sheets would disappear, supposedly. Anyway, it was time to pour the epoxy resin. I had some troubles with the plexiglass here, but it's kind of embarrassing. And anyway, I got out that pouring can thing there and added some of the epoxy resin in. The mixture turned out to be reasonably good. I don't always get it right. Anyway, this is probably the biggest epoxy resin build I've ever done. Maybe. There was one other that was pretty big. This isn't super big. Wow, I'm moving fast there, man. Look at that guy. Wow, yeah. Anyway, so as you can see, when you're in the middle of mixing it, or around the middle, it starts to fog up. More than before and after it's all mixed up. And if you've never poured epoxy resin before, I'm not 100% sure why that happens, but after you're done mixing it, it should look more clear. Anyway, I set aside some epoxy resin there that was mixed up, and I added a bunch of green paint into there, and in that green paint kind of changed the color there and made it look like there was green stuff coming out of the pipe. That was the last time I probably ever touched him, or touched the part that was underwater. So anyway, it was time to take off the plexiglass here. The isopropyl alcohol was an excellent releasing agent. It worked great. Anyway, after that, I added some Mod Podge. Actually, I was a little surprised that the isopropyl alcohol, which by the way is rubbing alcohol, didn't actually work that great for releasing the hot glue. It helped, but it released the plexiglass a lot better than it released the hot glue. Anyway, I added some more goopy stuff. This, I think, was just plaster, water. No, this was plaster, Mod Podge, and paint. I don't think I added any water. Anyway, then I got some of these green paints here. And as you can see, there is some trees up there. That was pretty simple. I just took some sticks in there and put the foliage on top. But anyway, I was using that green paint to make some duckweed.